Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5 and we will presenting about the figure which his name is Rubin. So for the introduction, firstly, my name is Nur Najah Nadia binti Daraji. My number matric is 1201812. So move to the introduction. Orientalism is a hotly debated topic regarding the classification of European and non-European. This issue happened because Europe consider non-European territories their subject and believe that it was their duty to teach them the manner of civilization. The meaning of this term come from the word Orient. Orient means West, and based on Edward said, Orientalism means a style of thought based upon an ontological and epistemological distinction made between the Orient and the history and most of the Occident. So, based on the following definition, there have been several figures of Orientalism from the West, and one of them is the figure we will share about it, which is Rubin. He is one of the Orientalists who expressed his opinion through several of his books on the Quran and the history of the development of Islam.
Firstly, we begin on the biography of the scholar Orientalism, and this is what we found during the research. His name is Rubin, was born on 1944 at Kiryat Ono, Tel Aviv, Israel, and he was died on 26 October 2021, which is 77 years old. He works as professor in the Department of Arabic Language and Islamic Studies of Buddhist on Israel. During his period under his employment, he focused on the research about the Islamic history, specifically on the Quran, and then the Tafsir al-Quran, the life of the Prophet Muhammad and his family, and he also studied on the Hadith. After that, he is author of the book and contribution on publishing article in the Encyclopedia of Islam. On the other hand, he also was a member of the Advisory Council of the Encyclopedia of the Quran. But not forgotten, before he became as a professor, he was graduate in the bachelor and master degree in Biblical Studies and Middle Eastern History at the Tel Aviv University in years 1968. And he continues his study at PhD level and graduate on 1971, PhD in Arabic Studies at the same university, which is Tel Aviv University.
My name is Nur Najah Nadia. The metric number 1201814. We will continue about the list of works from Rubin. First, The Life of Muhammad. Second, Muhammad the Prophet and Arabia. Third, Israel Oriental Studies, Volume 70. Fourth, Between Jerusalem and Mecca. The Life of Muhammad is explained about a textual analysis of the story of Muhammad's prophetic emergence in Mecca as documented by early Islamic tradition, and observe the textual dynamic and examine the tradition as a reflection of the self-image of early medieval Islamic society. The second book, under title Muhammad the Prophet and Arabia, this article dealing with Quranic and post-Quranic aspect of the Prophet Muhammad image and religious environment. First section analyze Muhammad prophecy as reflected in the Quran and the post-Quranic Sirah, Tafsir, Tarikh and Hadith. Second section is about study Muhammad's prophetic and experience. Third section look at Muhammad Arabia, specifically the tradition about Mecca and Kaaba. The third book is about Islam is always had ambivalent relations with Judaism and Christianity, as also with Jews and Christianity. Second, the awkwardness of the character has been accentuated by the creation and perpetuation on all sides of partial and ill-intentioned image during the Middle Ages and political development. The last book by Rubin is Between Jerusalem and Mecca. This book sheds new light on the history of the sanctity of Jerusalem in Islam. This book also describes about the Isra and Mi'raj event, which is Muhammad's vision of nocturnal journey from the Masjid al-Haram to Masjid al-Aqsa. This book allocated major aspects of the renewed and growing sanctity of Jerusalem and Al-Sham at large as reflected in the available Islamic tradition.
My name is Nur Syafiqah binti Cik Daud, my metric number 1201803. Next, I will continue with criticism of Rubin on Al-Quran. Firstly, Rubin has translated the meanings of the Al-Quran into Hebrew. He providing criticism, commentaries, and footnotes, particularly regarding topics such as warfare, jihad, and Islamic conquest. However, there are concerns about the accuracy and intention of the translation, with some suggesting that Rubin's understanding and interpretation of the Al-Quran text may be flawed. Additionally, Rubin examined the Quranic stories and their similarities to Jewish, Christian, and pagan sources in his translation of the Al-Quran. Firstly, for the Jewish sources, one example of his critique on the story of Adam and Eve, where he suggests that parts of the story mentioned in the Quran can be traced back to the Torah and Agadah. Our arguments are the Quranic narrative style differs significantly from that of the Torah. The Quran presents stories within a religious framework, aiming to touch the souls and convey moral and educational lessons as intended by Allah. Next, Rubin's claim in his book Between Bible and Quran is that the Quran borrowed the story of creation from the Bible. Despite notable difference between the narrative, he argues that the Quran follows the same path as the Bible in its storyline. It is important to note that while the Quran emphasizes the transcendence of the Creator and his distinction from humans regarding fatigue and rest, the Bible states that the God rested on the seventh day of creation. Lastly, Rubin claim of the Quranic works being derived from other languages. Dr. Ahmad Solah Al-Bahsini argues that the works used in the Quran is authentically Arabic in its structure and meaning. While there are similarities with other Semitic languages can be explained by the presence of Semitic commonalities. These commonalities exist in various Semitic languages, including Arabic, where works may share similar structures and meaning or have different meanings.
So next, we move to the criticism, Sirah on the Quran. Firstly, first criticism, which is Rubin considers the early life of the Prophet Muhammad SAW inspired by the narrative of previous biblical prophet, such as the concept of pre-existence. Next, understanding Muslim by referring to early Islam, the companions, the prophet, and converts. And next is Rubin suggests that the biography of the prophet is modeled on previous prophet based on the biblical theme. And also, Rubin influenced the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad SAW with biblical uses by stating that Muslims chose Monday and the month of Rabiul Awal for the Prophet birth based on the Jewish tradition.
Conclusion. First, Rubin, scholar who has contributions to field of Islamic studies. Second, his research focused on early Islamic history, Quranic studies, and the development of Islamic law. Rubin has provided valuable insight into the evolution of Islamic thought and historical content of the Quran. Lastly, Rubin also influential in academic discussions and contributed to better understanding of the early Islamic period.
For the references, this is our references. Last but not least, we also collected resources from Arabic sources. That's all from us. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.